Hi, this is Steve Trustrum if you don't know me. I'm getting really tired of having to type and retype the same old argument with people after Charlottesville who keep saying freedom of speech no matter what, freedom of speech no matter what. Nazis have the same right to freedom of speech as anybody else. And then they do things like compare the Nazis to Antifa or Black Lives Matter and say, you know, if Black Lives Matter, Antifa has the right of free speech. Why don't the Nazis have the right of free speech? You know, counter-protesting Nazis is taking away their free speech. Okay, first off, I'm going to point out I'm Canadian, and I seem to know the American Constitution better than you assholes, because the American Constitution doesn't actually guarantee you the right to free speech no matter what. It guarantees you the right not to have your free speech meddled with by the government. The government cannot come up to you and say, you can't say this, you can't say that. A bunch of your fellow citizens, your fellow Americans, can come up to you and say, we collectively do not like what you are going to say, and within the extent of the law, and yes, sometimes beyond, we are going to stop you from spreading your hate. So, Antifa is not taking away Nazis' free speech by saying, hey assholes, go away, nobody wants to hear from you. Now here's the other thing about Nazis and free speech and the people who defend their free speech, regardless of consequences, regardless of anything else, they seem to forget that the world fought a war about the Nazis, when they went around killing a bunch of people within the act of war, and a bunch of people just for being Jews, gypsies, homosexuals, intellectuals, artists, teachers, and that sort of thing. It's a little inconvenient that they, the thing that they just forget, because it's kind of, it's kind of important to their argument. They just kind of forget that because, these aren't the same Nazis. But you know what? There's white supremacists. And then there's Nazis. You can make the argument that you're a white supremacist who just says, you know what, I just think that the races should be kept pure and that we should be segregated, or even let's send the black people back to Africa. You can say that. You're still an asshole, but you're not a Nazi. You're not for genocide. You stop, your ethics, although reprehensible, stop shy of genocide. Good for you. That's a good speed bump to stop at. But anyways, so you're that white supremacist. But when you go and call yourself a Nazi and wave around swastikas and throw up the Hitler salute, you're kind of taking that step beyond Nazis, and you're branding yourself with those dudes from World War II whose ass eventually got kicked by the rest of the world when they said, hey, we don't like what you're doing and you need to be stopped, and millions of people died stopping them. So when people say, you need to protect the rights of free speech for Nazis, no, you don't. We know what their end game is. Free speech is meant to keep conversation going. It's meant to open dialogue, to keep the dialogue flowing, not to repress ideas that can change, that can be brought back into the value of society. Guess what? When your end game is genocide, there's no value to that to society. There's no reason to keep that discussion going. It has no value. So when you say that free speech needs to be protected for those Nazis just because it's free speech, you're naive and you're an idiot, because you are literally putting the rights of free speech, as you understand it, misunderstanding the Constitution, you're putting that right above the rights of all those people those Nazis want to kill. And that right being the right to go about their life without being under constant threat of death. And not just individual death, genocide. All right? So there's a tier of things that are valuable to society. And the free speech of Nazis versus the rights of people to live without being killed just for the color of their skin or because they're Jewish? Yeah, they're equal. If you're one of these people who create a moral equivocation between Nazis and what Black Lives Matter do and Antifa matter, you're either a complete fucking idiot or think you're playing devil's advocate but don't realize you're just an asshole, or you really are so ignorant of history, social responsibility, the social contract, and the value of human life that you just can't tell the difference. Now here's something to ponder. If the police catch you and a bunch of your buddies conspiring and planning to kill one person, let alone go blow up a factory or go blow up a school, you get charged for that just because you thought about it and put into process actions that are going to lead to that. Whether you actually would have gotten to that moment and gone through with it doesn't matter. The fact that you started the planning process and put that wheel in motion means you can be charged. So let's go back to the white supremacist versus the Nazi. The white supremacists stop short of genocide. Hopefully, there's still white supremacists out there that go for genocide. They just, don't like the Nazi brand, whatever. But then there's the Nazis, who we know are after genocide. Everything that they do, everything that they talk about with each other in the context of being Nazis, is in pursuit of that goal. So why is it that the two or more people who are conspiring to kill someone or blow up a factory or, whatever, are committing the act of conspiracy, which is an illegal act, the conspiracy to do whatever, the conspiracy to commit murder, the conspiracy to commit terrorism? They're committing an illegal act. But if a bunch of white dickheads get together, call themselves Nazis, and talk about and put into process the mechanism of eventually, hopefully from their perspective, getting towards genocide, that's free speech. That's not a crime. So do you know what? Don't give me this shit about, we need to protect the free speech of Nazis. What you're actually doing is arguing about how we have to protect their right to conspire, to commit genocide. And don't fool yourself by saying it's anything else. Don't present that argument to me, because fuck you, because you're an idiot if you do, because that is all that Nazis stand for, is white purity, genocide. That's it. That's what their free speech is. The right to conspire to commit genocide. And that's what you're protecting when you protect a Nazi's right to free speech. So to all you people who want to protect the Nazis' right to free speech, fuck you very much. Shut up. Get on the bandwagon with the rest of society that understands that some people have to be protected. And yes, unfettered free speech does have consequences.